Pink is for girls. And other lessons of ritual. What's up, folks? This is Justin Garcia, a.k.a. Master Chim, and I'm here with the White Ritual. Patrick Kelly, White Boy Pat.
What's up?
Welcome to another episode of The Pressure Project. ThePressureProject.com is our website. Info at ThePressureProject.com is our contact email. Keep those messages coming. ThePressureProjectMembers.com is our new membership site. Worth checking out.
Yeah.
On that note, we have a couple of announcements. We made an arrangement, right? A deal, an agreement with our 2-year members that we'd give them a shout out on an episode. And some of them choose to be anonymous, but some of them, want everybody to know that they're part of the brotherhood. So today we have Erwin Duran, Scott Martinez, and Anthony Chu. They're 3 of our newest 2-year members. And of course, guys, we thank you for your support.
Awesome.
And, behind the curtain of the membership site, there's a lot of goodies, a lot of value, a lot of strong masculine content. Aside from the archive of all of our episodes,
Yes.
which at this point is how many are current? Like we keep a dozen?
12.
A dozen?
Yeah.
So there's over 130 episodes in the archive, which is incredible. And we also have the loyalty matrix.
Correct.
And we have some more stuff coming up. The weather's turned and summer's out and people out in the street, and we're in New York City, the rectum of the United States. And the street interviews are coming.
Yeah.
Right. And they're going to be exclusive for the member site.
And we have the forum.
We have the forum on and popping.
Yeah, that's good.
So a lot of stuff in the member site. So
Awesome.
today, what are we talking about?
Oh, international.
International. What?
Yeah. Anyone who we had some members, international members.
Yeah, this is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like one of these things that when I started the podcast with you, it's I needed a method by which I could have my therapy, right? This is my catharsis.
Yeah.
And when I started it was really to just get a conversation going, to rant, to let the stuff out, to talk about the stuff that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
But just, I guess, do
For
it out
the
loud.
record.
On the record,
yeah.
out loud.
There was times we'd have conversations. So like, man, we should have recorded that conversation.
And now there are people from all over the planet who listen
Pretty cool.
to this podcast.
Yeah.
Which I'm always, humbled by and gracious, for the support. But
So we updated the ability for other countries. Like you could always do it through PayPal, but now on the membership page, you can join from another country more
I
easily.
think a guy from Japan was doing it.
It might be Japan. I didn't say, but his email address was similar to that.
Right. So we have
Ireland.
Japan, Ireland, Australia,
Yep.
Africa.
What was the other one?
South Africa.
Yeah.
Where else? Greece,
Taiwan.
Taiwan. There was Dave. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Guys
awesome.
from all over the
Yeah.
place.
Legit.
And the cool thing is that the members, it's, we all kind of like deal with each other now. It's like, when you start talking about the loyalty matrix and ritual and all, RPS formula.
Yeah.
You see that sort of playing itself out,
100%.
on the member site, which is cool.
Very cool.
So, anywho.
Yes.
Today we're going to be talking about rituals and the lessons that were installed through ritual and the lessons that are a byproduct of ritual. Some good, some bad, some insignificant, but were significant in the past.
Yes.
And we don't even realize it.
But have survived.
Right. So what we decided to do is take 10 examples of rituals that we either perform or know about, familiar with, and we're going to talk about, well, why is it that we do that? What does that mean? Right. And we're going to start off with the title, which is Pink is for Girls.
Pink is for girls. Yeah.
So why is pink for girls? Because we say it is.
Because we say so.
And it's really not any more significant than that. And before, all the moonbats get their panties in a bunch.
But real men wear pink.
Right. So, you know what? And if in your tribe that is the ritual, then that is the ritual in your tribe.
Yeah.
So I hate when my children don't, my boys don't wear pink.
Yeah.
And,
my son does not wear pink.
And the thing that I get from people is, oh, well, 200 years ago, men actually wore pink and pink dresses. It's like, that doesn't mean anything.
Who
to
are
me.
these people?
Like,
Where do they? What culture?
what
are
do they
from?
have to do with me and my boys?
Yeah.
So when we say pink is for girls, that is as much a ritualistic designation as it is a cultural meme.
Yeah.
Does the fact that we say pink is for girls denote some sort of scientific attribute of the color pink? No, not at all. Nor does it have to. So that's the thing with ritual.
Yeah.
Pink is for girls because in our tribe, we say it's for girls. In our tribe, we designated it for girls.
Correct.
And we act accordingly, right? So we talk about the RPS formula of tribe, right? Ritual, procreation, survival.
Yeah.
Ritual is so important. Ritual is what we do.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't I identify, right? And it always I got to find a better way to say this because it always feels weird to me.
I
right?
identify.
So if people ask me, what are you, white, black, or Hispanic? I would say white. Now, my last name's Garcia. My father's Puerto Rican. Hispanic nowadays has taken on the connotation of representing, the native Mexicans, like and native, even that's debatable. Yeah. But the American Indian, right? The Native American tribes and how they've sort of morphed and grown and evolved into these countries in Central, South America.
I would say you're white justified.
I justify.
White justified.
I justify as a white.
I justify as white. That's fun.
That's not bad. It's at least funny. It's at a minimum, right? So if you look at, talk about the races, right? White, black, Native American, and I don't know if it's Native American, but basically Asian and Amerindian. I don't know what it's called. Whatever the fuck it is. You have white, black, brown, and yellow.
Yeah.
Right? Or white, black, red, and yellow.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that works.
Brown, red. Like kidney beans. What color are they? Brown or red? Who knows? But they're delicious.
They're good.
Especially my father's. So I identify, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Oh, I'm talking about ritual and tribe. So if I say that we do certain things in my group, but you do certain things in your group, they're not necessarily in conflict with one another because they are attached to our group, right? And I don't have to put forth our ritual as universals.
Correct.
Right? Because they're not.
No.
It's what we do. Now I know what I was talking about. So people ask me, well, how come you don't identify as a Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
And what I like to say is I was not raised to be a Puerto Rican man.
Understood.
So when you look at ritual and its effect on your children, on the youth, it's a great way to phrase it to sort of represent what process actually occurs.
Yeah.
I was not raised to be a Puerto Rican man.
Nor was I.
Right. No, the good thing is you'd be fucking lost.
I'd be a terrible Puerto Rican male.
So I was not raised to be a black man. I was not raised to be an Asian. So you have these different groups who raise their children to be another representative of their group.
Yeah.
And that's how culture is propagated traditionally, right?
Yeah.
So what we do,
our ritual,
the ritual of this generation, the ritual of one generation we say is culture. The ritual that transcends generation we say is tradition, right? So our rituals right now determine who we are, what we do. Yeah. So if we say pink is for girls, that could very well be exclusive to us, but it's irrelevant, as soon as, it leaves the boundaries by which I'm commenting on, which is my tribe.
Our tribe, yeah.
So another one. Yellow is for cowards.
Yes.
Now, some of these things you guys will also, share and have. Some of these things won't have anything to do. And everything I just said up until this point, addresses that. This is an observation of examples of how rituals install certain lessons.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know what, before we get to yellows and cowards, just to conclude on pink is for girls, like, why would we make a designation of, you know, this color's for girls? Because it allows us to have the conversation of the differences between boys and girls.
Correct.
If I say this is for girls to a child, I already acknowledge, you know, indirectly, that there are differences in boys and girls.
Correct.
You know, there are some things that are for them, some things that are for you. And it lays the groundwork and foundation of future conversations that will obviously permeate into responsibilities and obligations of men and women,
roles,
fathers and mothers, husbands and wives, and the like.
Warrior, nurturer.
Right. So we have these rituals that allow us to install certain lessons.
Correct.
Right?
Establish roles.
Right. So a way that we do it in my tribe, as an example, I mean, not all the examples I have are in my tribe.
No.
Some of them are just observations that other people may identify with. But we have pink is for girls. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Another thing we have in my household is yellow is for cowards.
Yes.
All right. Yellow is for cowards. So why, you know, do I think there's something about yellow that is cowardly? No, it's a color. You know, it's a color, and you don't know how many articles of clothing that have yellow on it that I had to convince my sons is gold. It's gold. Like, no, that's gold.
It's gold.
It looks yellow,
sun,
Daddy. That's because of the thread. They didn't have gold, so, but it's meant to be gold. All right. So yellows for cowards got me to have the conversation of what a coward was.
Yeah.
Have the conversation of, you know, what is bravery, and you know, as opposed to cowardice. You know, what should we be striving to be? You know, what attributes transcend gender? You know, we don't want women to be cowards.
Yeah.
We don't want men to be cowards. You know, anybody could be brave. Anybody could be cowardly. You know, this topic through the sort of rituals or the cultural memes, right? We could say a meme is an installed ritual.
Yeah.
An isolated, installed ritual. We say that these things empower us because it allows us to have the conversations and reinforce the identity of the group.
Yes.
Right? So, yellows for cowards. Sometimes it backfires.
Sometimes.
Right? My wife tells me one day, kids don't want to go outside and play. Well, why? Because they hate the sun because the sun's yellow. And they think they're going to become cowardly if they
get touched by the rays of the sun.
I didn't think of that. So I had to go find Hubble, pictures of the sun, showing in different colors, red. And my oldest son, Hayden's favorite color is red because of Spider-Man. He's, whatever. And so I had to say it's actually mostly red and white, and it's not really yellow. Well, why do they use yellow? Because the crayon box, they don't have a color that, so I had to make up this whole other thing to support this.
Did some research on the sun, so that was cool. Yeah.
And this is the way
that led to information, led to knowledge. Right. So sounds good to me.
Creates the conversation.
Correct.
Right? So number 3.
Crying is for babies.
Crying is for babies.
Yeah.
Do you let your kid cry?
No.
The baby you do.
The baby cries.
Mess with my knees, I'll punch you in your neck.
But yeah, no.
Right.
So, and now, there's some times where frustration will cause tears, but it's always a battle. It's not accepted. Why are you crying? Do you really want a reason to cry? Like, what is happening? Are you injured? Are we going to the hospital? Then why are you crying?
Right. And now understand, we have an episode, it's archived.
Crybabies.
Crybabies. Everybody cries. The toughest men cry. I've cried. He cries. Everybody has cried at one point. But what are the circumstances under which we cry? What is our level of resilience? Yeah. Are we using crying in place of action? There is a whole sort of wealth of information and content and sort of discussion that is behind telling a child crying is for babies.
Yeah.
Because the assessment could very well be, if you have a legitimate reason, maybe we don't call it crying.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't even acknowledge the fact that you are, releasing, this trauma, we call it, and, all this stuff. You got to watch Crybabies.
Yeah, Crybabies is a good one.
Could access it now.
Yeah, that's an early episode too.
Early episode, but it addresses, I get called everything, but one of the things I remember recently on the Radio 314 interview I did with Lana,
Yeah.
in her comments, people were calling me a lot of things.
Yeah.
Closeted gay was one of them.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Say wishful thinking, homie.
He's like, my closet looks great.
Hey, I'm a piece of ass in the gay community. So
He was inviting you.
But I was called on a couple of occasions, meathead,
Sure, that's the
caveman,
Neanderthal.
Neanderthal, and
Those are the easy ones.
it's easy. Yeah, I look like a dwarf. I'm 5'5", 275
That was fun.
pounds.
Everyone's like, "What's wrong with Legolas?"
Like he hates
like,
Legolas. He
guys,
get over
like
yourself.
you're focused on the wrong shit.
Right. So I get called, I get labeled this, and a lot of it has to do with my appearance. I use very I don't think insulting language, but certainly offensive language.
Strong
language that is offensive to weak people.
Yes.
On purpose.
Especially Legolas fans.
Especially Legolas fans. But I get called, this just caveman, unsophisticated, brutish, macho, and listen, I am a champion of the cause of masculinity and everything that I stand for with this podcast. But not by any stretch do I sit here and deny the fact that, men have emotions and men love and men at times cry and men these are all topics that I'm very much interested in studying and have for years. So it's easy to say, well, he's just a caveman, especially if I have something like, crying is for babies, which I do with my sons.
Of course.
Because it allows me to have the conversation.
It does.
Why are you crying? You're crying because you didn't get something? That's what your baby your baby sister does.
Soon,
right? So we have Hedia now, and Hedia, my youngest daughter, my only daughter, my youngest child, when she cries, it allows me to explain to my third son now, my youngest son, who was the youngest up until this point, he also gets the benefit of seeing the reference of, well, look, she cries when she doesn't get anything because she doesn't know how to talk.
Yeah, she
doesn't know how to communicate. So when you're crying, you're using the language of a baby instead of explaining to me what you need or want.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
So when you say crying is for babies, it's not this insensitive, cold, macho, nonsense. There's always value, you know. And the whole thing is when we're talking about these rituals, we call it the Pink is for Girls and other lessons of ritual. There needs to be a lesson. Yeah. And if you don't understand the lesson, chances are there probably was a lesson at some point in the past, or there's a lesson that you're missing.
Correct.
Or you are no longer doing something that you should be doing. Yeah. There's no point of it. Right?
All these things they start the questions. Why?
Right.
Why? You can take why and go as deep and as far as you want.
Right.
What is cry? Why? Why do you cry? Why do emotions exist? But if you start with the simplification of crying for babies, you can start that conversation and everything can go. You can go as deep as you want. We have a whole episode on it, like you said.
Right. Absolutely. So this next one is something that growing up in a Catholic family, I've seen.
Yeah, me too.
But I've never participated in, but it's something you still see to this day.
Spectacles. Testicles,
watch, wallet. Right.
Yeah.
Making the sign of the cross.
Sign of the cross.
When you pass a church or a cemetery.
Yeah.
Right. Something that I don't know if it's a Christian thing or just a Catholic thing.
Yeah.
But
Catholic thing, I think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But you still see it all the time. I remember, growing up with my friends, that we'd pass a church and they do the sign of the cross. And I look at them and I go, why the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, whenever you pass, like, why? What's the value of doing it? Is that written somewhere? Is that a rule? And it's like, no, well, that's what my parents do. Like, and this is what happened. So
my parents would always pour out their 40.
For the brothers who ain't here, my niggas.
Right by the cemetery.
It's like, you can't say that, you're white. So
that was a good voice.
When you have the, the sign of the cross done in front of a church. Now, is there a spiritual significance to this? Obviously not. Is there does Jesus go, hey,
he was just about to kill you.
He's like, hey, how you doing? It's like,
just
hey,
about to kill you, and then you did that. He was like, "All right, you're good."
you know. So,
Is it protection against zombies?
well, you don't know what it is. You know,
Like no zombies today. Keep going.
it's like another pizza gets put in your house in heaven.
More another slice of sky cake.
Another slice. So you have the I mean, obviously it's not a spiritual thing. So what is it? It's ritual.
It's ritual. Yeah.
It's ritual. Every single time you do this, that is one more rep of being a Catholic.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So the more instances we have of doing things that Catholics do, the stronger the sophistication and the time, the two variables of the loyalty matrix. You know, the more, I should say, the stronger they get, the deeper they get.
Yeah, you're closing
the
your
more
loyalty.
developed. Right. Your loyalty is becoming closed. When you talk about the tribal spectrum, you're moving towards that closed circle. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at the loyalty matrix. But it is another rep of being a Catholic.
Yeah.
Right. So why don't I say I'm a Puerto Rican? Because I was not raised to be a Puerto Rican man.
Yeah.
Right. So there are kids that are raised to be Catholic adults.
There are, yeah.
And this is an example of how that is done. Right?
Getting
Through
their
ritual.
Catholic reps in.
Right. Getting your Catholic reps in. So that was 4. Number 5. God bless you.
When you sneeze.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit. Yeah.
Saúde. That's what they say in Brazil. I know my kids.
Yeah,
Saúde. Saúde.
That's what you say.
Right. So when we have the sneezing,
Yeah.
it's, what did they think it was? Your soul? You were
There's
like
two-
spitting your
yeah.
soul out of your nose?
When you
or something?
sneeze, your soul escapes or has the possibility of escape, and it leaves you open to demonic.
Your soul is made of snot.
Yes. And the demons gives you a chance, gives a small window for the demons to take you. So you say, God bless you, to defend against demons.
Right.
And the other thing was that your heart stops. So you say, God bless you, so your heart will start again and you don't die.
So it's sort of like LARPing, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Everyone has magic.
Yes.
And these like magical opportunities for things you can't see. Like,
Yeah.
So you're
the
playing
sneeze
this
diminishes
game.
your magic.
So now when you tell a kid this, you have to say God bless you because of all those reasons you just gave.
I've never-
That's fucking ridiculous. But I'm just saying,
Yeah, of
not
course.
you, the figurative you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't mean you.
Like my parents,
I didn't fucking do that bullshit.
yeah, usually it was just because that's the polite thing. That's what they would say.
Well, it winds up morphing into that.
yes.
Right? Because why would it be considered polite if you didn't have somebody at one point going, dude, the demons could have fucking got
Yeah,
me.
what-
You didn't even give a shit.
I probably am now a demon. Thanks
You
a
know,
lot.
Thanks. You know? So like 20 jokes. I gotta just
Yeah.
let them go.
Yeah.
So let them go. Let
Let them go. They're good too.
So anyway,
Yep.
when it comes to God bless you, you have, what we see now is the polite thing to do.
Sure.
But not many people realize that this is the reason we say God bless you. Because without that reason, as ridiculous as that reason is,
Yeah.
think about how ridiculous it is that when somebody sneezes, you say God bless you. Just think of that fact, right? Just observe that one exchange of communication.
Yes.
Somebody sneezes, which is a function of their body, right? Somebody sneezes and somebody invokes a metaphysical incantation.
Yes, to protect them
God
from
bless
demons.
you. How retarded is that? But as retarded as it is ritual, right? So if somebody sneezes and I say God bless you, chances are that over time is giving me reps of acknowledging a God,
Yeah.
of using God to communicate. Like it now allows me to embrace the identity of somebody who's religious. Right?
What
Or
other
somebody who
fluid
believes in
should we
God.
bless?
Right. This is what I'm saying.
You're at the urinal. Hey, man, bless you.
Every once in a while, I'm like, God damn. That's different. The jokes, they.
Yeah, we're trying to move past them.
All right. So
Anyway,
God bless you.
So
is
next
another
time you
example.
do that, really think about what you're doing.
Yeah,
You're blessing
like-
someone, protecting them from demons, or you're restarting their heart.
Right. So the best thing about like the way I function and go around. Now, my wife says it with the kids.
You know what I say? Cover your mouth.
Right.
Someone sneezes, I say, cover your mouth. That's my ritual.
But that's because your mother's a nurse and she germ freaks all
yeah,
of you.
that's my ritual. Cover your mouth.
When my wife says it with the kids, they say Saúde. It's really, Saúde is like health.
Health.
So they're saying like health, like good health or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's not an inherent religious thing.
No.
And it's something that they do that is from Brazil. So
Cool.
it is something that allows them to participate as Brazilians when they're amongst their Brazilian
very
family.
cool.
So that is why that has been sort of allowed to exist.
It's a Brazilian rep.
Right. So when great way to put it, Brazilian rep. When I'm, with my family or friends, somebody sneezes, it is completely insignificant to me.
Yeah.
And I had my mother once, this had to be a year or two ago. And she's like, God bless you. Like after she sneezed.
Yeah.
And it was like, I looked at her like,
David the De Niro.
like
what?
really? Like, okay, ma. And it was like, all right, never ask me again.
That's
right?
funny.
So it's another example of these rituals that a lot of people don't even realize why they do.
They don't.
right? But that's why. So number 6, and we have 10 of them.
Yeah.
So number 6, women walking on the inside of the sidewalk.
Correct.
Right. So now, when I grew up
Yeah.
in my neighborhood, they always said you have to have the girl on the inside.
Yeah.
Now, when I asked why, the consensus was in my neighborhood, well, if you put her on the outside, you're treating her like she's a prostitute.
See, I never
and
heard
you're
that
a
one.
pimp. Because
That's
it's
wild.
bullshit.
Like you're advertising her to the
Because-
street.
Because that is like what they concluded.
That's very
and the
interesting.
reason they say that, and
Yeah.
but this is a funny thing because this
Okay.
allows me to touch on another thing. They had no idea why the
Yeah.
woman went on the inside, so they thought of something
I get it.
and they made that
It
the
It
explanation.
makes sense.
But now what happens is
yeah.
that explanation becomes a thing.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
now you have, and this has happened to me before,
Yeah.
where I've been walking with a girl in the Bronx, Puerto Rican chick probably,
Sure.
and she's on the outside of me, and she's like, "What am I? What am I? A hooker? What am I? A prostitute?" Like,
Wow. Yeah.
and it's like, "Oh, I don't know. Are you?" Because let's skip the restaurant.
We've already determined that. Now we're talking about price.
So now that, but if
Yeah, I get it.
So
That's-
now,
yeah.
if you have a young lady.
So is
who
that a test?
But if you have a young lady that is offended by something that is actually inaccurate,
Yeah.
it means it's inaccurate compared to the origins of that thing, but it certainly also means that this is now its own thing.
Yeah.
So you have a certain group of people who are going to say, if you walk with your woman towards the street on the sidewalk, you're saying that she's a hooker.
Yeah.
You're treating her like a prostitute. You're showing her no respect. Now, the actual origins
Yeah.
of it was you have when they first started having sidewalks, they had sidewalks because there were carriages,
Yep.
and carriages would splash up mud and dirt, and you put the woman on the inside so as to protect them.
The protected side.
Right, the protected side, so as to protect them from that mud getting splashed up, anything that could or would happen from the street. She has that barrier of the gentleman between her and whatever that thing was.
Yep.
So
and in medieval times, the sword was on the left side, so they'd put them on that side because they had to do battle with the other hand.
right, so and this is how. Well, that really doesn't make sense if you're walking on the right side of the street and she's on your right.
Is there a street?
Well, yeah, there's a street because there's a sidewalk.
I'm talking about medieval knights, like
There's no streets back then.
before. Well, no, there's streets, but before
So then, where would
carriages,
you where would you be
horses,
walking with her? on
You're
the
walking wherever you're walking. You're putting her
So
on the
let's
other
just
side.
say that we'll speculate that,
Yeah.
that could have been a predecessor
Yeah.
to the application on now a street sidewalk scenario.
That's what happened.
all right. There you go. Makes sense to me. I didn't understand it, so my fault. So you have now this example of one thing,
Yeah.
its purpose being lost,
Yeah.
but the ritual is still practiced, so that another reason, justification
Yeah.
is developed,
Yeah.
and now that's its own thing.
Correct.
Right. So if you talk to the average, I swear, like when we do the street interviews, just for shits and giggles,
That's
I'm
gonna
going to
be
ask
something,
about that. And I guarantee you, the majority of people that I ask, especially Puerto Ricans, because Puerto Rican women, that's
Wow.
like their thing.
I never knew about that.
Because you didn't grow up in the Bronx with Puerto Rican women.
Exactly.
What were you going to say?
The kids.
Oh, also protecting the kids,
Yeah.
right?
You don't let the kids by the street.
right.
Like,
So that is that is how that came to be.
Yeah.
Ironically, some people listening or watching this will say, "Oh, I thought it was because of the prostitutes."
That's awesome.
This is treating like my girl like a whore.
Yeah.
Some people will, yeah, well, I knew it was for that. And there'll be other people who have never even heard of this,
Yeah.
which is kind of the point. Right?
Yeah.
Because this is a tribal ritual.
Now, is that how you spot a prostitute? What side of the street you want to walk on? You want to walk on my left or right? She's like, left. You're like,
God damn it.
is that entrapment?
So
Anyway.
anywho, so that was number 6, women walking on the inside.
Yeah.
So number 7,
Yes.
praying before you eat or go to sleep.
Yeah. Going to sleep. That's some morbid stuff right there.
Well, think about it. You know,
if I die before I wake, like,
right.
oh,
I
okay.
pray the Lord my soul to take.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow. All right.
That's some strong, morbid shit that
Yeah.
was taught to kids.
Yes.
And when you look at some of the commitments to the tribes, right, and beliefs of religion, it's no wonder. These rituals were powerful. They were introduced very early, and they were done repetitively and consistently.
Yeah.
So when, if you pray before you eat, I was just watching Kevin Hart. You know
Kevin Hart. Yeah, I know
one
Kevin
of his
Hart.
one of his comedy specials.
Is that racist for you to say if I know Kevin Hart or not?
Yeah, well, it is. One of his comedy specials.
Yeah.
He's talking about going on a date with a girl, and he talks about I hate when I tell her I tell her to eat whatever she wants, and I'll just have a little thing, whatever, and and that's all you want. Yeah, that's all I want. I'm just gonna have this. Or I'm gonna order this. And he says one time, I take a girl out and her food comes first, and I say, no, you eat. Don't worry about it. I'll wait for my food. It's no big deal. And so he said that eventually his food comes, and he's saying his prayer, and he hears another fork sound on his plate, and it's the girl. So we all know that women do that. Of
course.
Right? My wife used to do that. Probably the first year of our marriage. She does not do it anymore.
Understood.
Right? I actually stabbed one of my friends one time.
I
I tell you the story before?
Yeah, of course. I always wonder if you were going to tell that story.
I didn't. It was a complete just reaction. like karate block.
Yeah.
It's
Instinctual defense.
I didn't even know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
Guy reached for my fries. I put a fork in his hand.
That's awesome.
And one of my good friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he's flipping out. He's going like this.
It's in his,
fork.
yeah.
It's in his hand.
Yeah, it's
right?
in there.
I'm hysterically laughing because that point is funny.
It's really fun.
But just a reaction. So I don't like people touching my shit. But anyway.
Understood.
So
I have never done that, luckily.
So Kevin Hart is making the joke, but the whole thing is he's saying he closed his eyes to say a prayer before he ate his food, and that's when he heard the fork sound.
That's funny.
So his reply to her was like, you can't even let me fucking talk to Jesus, and you're already eating my food? So this is something that is a very common thing.
Yeah.
And often, it's easy to say, well, I'm praying to God, to say that I'm thankful for the food I'm about to eat.
Yeah, sure.
Which makes logical sense to people, which is why it's such a common, popular, powerful ritual.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. People don't question it.
Yeah.
But what it is, it's a rep of being a Christian.
Yeah. Rub-a-dub-dub. Thanks for the grub.
Whatever you're into. So,
But what about this? Think about this. Imagine a pagan situation where they have killed something, done something else to appease the god of the harvest, and then whatever they did yielded a good crop. They get the food, and they're praying to that god of the harvest, the pagan version of it.
Right.
That would make more sense than, in terms of making sense praying. But
right, you're trying. That's what you're trying to do.
Yes,
you're trying to say which is more logical, which form of praying is more
because it's
logical.
like that god directly raised that crop for me.
Right. It's just
that's a hard sentence.
Yeah. I mean, it's You're like,
Yeah.
you're like saying which superhero is more realistic.
Yeah. Thank you, Superman, for my bread.
So anyway.
Yeah.
So when you pray before you go to sleep, it's you're talking to Jesus. I used to date a girl, right?
Okay.
And I was 14, I think.
14.
14. I think she was like 16.
Okay.
She's a little older than I was.
Yeah.
And because I was a stud,
Hey.
like ladies loved me.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you?
I was doing me, it's doing me.
Doing you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in and whenever she went to her house, like whenever I drop her off at home, she would always tell me what she was going to say to Jesus before she went to sleep.
Really?
Like, oh, tonight I'm gonna, I'm gonna pray to him.
Oh, the jokes.
I'm like, oh, you're gonna beg for forgiveness?
Jesus, I've been dirty.
I'm dating a demon. So,
oh man.
But it was always like this thing that always
That's very strange.
but it maintained a distance between us.
Yeah.
Because I was always like, that's retarded. Because obviously
Tell Jesus I said hello.
It's like, I was like, you don't have to tell me what you say to Jesus every night.
Yeah.
Just do me a favor and let me know if he ever says anything back. Because then I want to know about it.
She's like, today I'm going to go home and I'm going to take a shit.
Yeah, but to me, it was the same value.
Yeah.
But she used to pray every night.
Nice.
And that's what she was taught. She said she's done it since she's a little
Sure.
girl. And so many Christians, Catholic, and even other religions do the same thing. And now, obviously we're busting balls.
Yeah.
I come from a Christian family, as do you.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a personal.
I never did that.
Personal, but what I'm saying,
Yeah.
are you listening to me? You
Yes, I am.
defensive fuck.
I'm listening. Oh, here we go. I better start saying my prayers.
So
That episode ended kind of abruptly.
and with screaming. So
Just a still.
with being that we're both from Catholic families,
Yes.
when we joke about the Catholic religion,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more homegrown,
100%,
and, a personal thing. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah,
You fuck.
I understand.
Not that you're fucking going to church after this.
Yeah.
Light a candle. Anyway, so lighting candle. No.
Yeah.
So
Next.
praying before you eat or sleep.
Yeah.
Ritual.
Ritual.
All right. Ritual.
Ritual.
Reps of being a Catholic.
Yeah. Catholic
Right?
reps.
Or whatever you are when you're doing it. Another one. This is cool
yeah, this one's
because
interesting.
this has some pagan roots.
Yes, pagan. Pagans.
Throwing a coin into a fountain,
Yes.
into a body of water.
Yes.
Right. So we do it, right? We say, oh, make a wish, right? We
Yeah,
throw it in. But
throw it in.
like, if you think about it, like so many of these things, if you think about
Yeah,
it,
where does it come from?
it's like, why am I doing this? What does
Yeah.
this mean?
yeah.
And I think when you know about ritual, it really puts you sort of on the hook for exploring these things.
Yeah.
Because not only, what are you becoming better at or more of by participating in these rituals, but also what are you exposing your children to?
Yeah.
All right. So in my house, we do Christmas, right?
Yeah.
But I also explain to them the pagan roots of the Christmas celebration, of the
Yep.
tree,
Mhm.
the pagan roots of the bunny during Easter, but we participate in the ritual of the festivity.
Yeah.
But the significance is explained
Correct.
and put in its proper context.
Yes.
Christmas is the birth of Christ. Like, Nick, no, that's not what we leave it at in my household. It's really, we explain what it is.
Yeah.
But it's still something that our families do, right? So it's something that I allow them the opportunity to participate
Yeah.
with their family with,
Correct.
right? So when you talk about throwing a coin into a body of water,
Yeah.
make a wish. Well, it wasn't always a wish. It was initially.
Yeah. It was initially there wasn't a lot of clean water.
Right.
So clean water was thought to have come from the gods, and therefore by throwing money into it or a coin, you were sending a message to the gods, a prayer to the gods, or
It
ostensibly
was
a
a
wish.
tribute.
Yeah, a tribute to the gods. That was basically your path to them because it was pure. It came from them.
Right. So in Shintoism, right?
Yeah.
Samurai religion,
Samurai.
which is probably completely inaccurate. But anyway,
Whatever.
I saw it in a samurai movie.
Yeah.
I remember the movie Shogun Assassin,
Shogun Assassin.
Lone Wolf and Cub. There was a point where the little boy took some food and brought it to an idol, right? A statue
Yep.
of a deity. And as a tribute, he put food there. So this is something that predates Christianity, that predates more modern religions, and developed organically in many different cultures. As you know, just like you said, not all water is drinkable. So when you saw drinkable water,
Yeah.
you thought that there was something special about
Yeah.
it.
From the
And
gods.
there was a goddess of water, was
There
it?
was a couple different goddesses and gods of water.
And it really depends
Yeah.
on, where you are in the world.
Yeah.
But there were deities
Yeah.
that were embodied or connected to a fresh spring of water. So throwing some sort of tribute into the water was really a prayer to that god or goddess
Yeah.
that represented that to your
It
tribe.
was your way to communicate.
So what happens as we move along in time, it becomes, instead of make a prayer, it becomes make a wish.
Yeah.
And you throw something valuable into a body of water. A lot of people never question, well, why is it that makes sense?
It's at the mall. You do it at the
Especially
mall.
if you're a Christian,
Yeah.
like there's no Christian precedent for this.
Aside from indulgences, but that was paid to the priests.
I don't even know what you're talking about right
They would
now.
buy their way out of hell.
Pat's like, I'm gonna make it right.
No, but they'd give the priests money, and it was called indulgences. They buy them so they could wash away their sins. That's how
All right, so something different.
giving money to God.
All right. Give money to his accountant.
Give money to the accountant. These accountants right here.
So
Yeah, throwing a coin in a fountain.
So throwing a coin in a fountain, that was number 8. And like one of these things that
Yeah.
people never question,
Yeah.
but when you did it and you were a child that is taught to do it, but connected to the actual story, an origin of the practice, it is
different.
another ritual of, allowing them to take that culture
Yeah.
and turn it into tradition. Right.
Yeah.
So number 9. Handshakes with
Yeah.
the right hand.
Yes.
So one of the things I teach my children,
Yes.
I teach all children, by
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah.
like usually like pissing parents off
all
when
the
I'm correcting
time.
their kids.
Even
It's
if they're
like,
holding something, I don't
if
care.
you shake my hand, you shake it with your right hand.
Yes.
You don't do the, I'm going to put, that's what a lady will do. Like I'll do that with a lady.
The little, like the half a
little
little
girl. Like, cause I don't give a fuck, right? With that.
Yeah.
All right, get out of here. But if it's a man, you got to shake my hand with your right hand.
Yes.
So now, to me, it was always, it almost very similar to the sidewalk walking on the inside outside.
Yeah.
It's morphed into something different with me.
Okay.
Because I really don't have an origin or was never really given an origin for that practice or that ritual, but it became the thing that men did.
Yes.
It became the respectful thing to
Yep.
do. Now, why? I never fucking knew, but we researched.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have researched this, or it isn't as obscure a fact as
Yep.
some of these other ones may be. But it was to show, and this was medieval times, was it?
5 BC Greek.
Oh, so earlier than that. In ancient Greece, having the acknowledgement that neither of you were armed,
Yes.
right?
That's what they
So
said.
it was
Yeah.
like an underarmed meeting. We were going to meet in peace,
Yeah, peace.
not in war.
I have
like-
no weapons.
Right. So it now over time turns into having a strong handshake. Think about it.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to show somebody you don't have a weapon, there's really just an acknowledgement that my hand is empty.
Correct.
Over time, that becomes looking at somebody in the eye,
Yep.
having a stern shake. Like it became a thing of its own.
Yes, it did.
Right. But if you look at its origins, it started as an acknowledgement
Yep.
of both of you being unarmed and meeting in peace.
Yeah. And they say in ancient Rome that the left hand was used to wipe your ass. So it's
Right.
dirty.
In Africa, too.
So that's why the right. But it turns out it might just be that most people are predominantly right-handed, and that's why it's
Right.
a right handshake because more people were inclined to do this.
But now this is
Yeah.
how, different people look at, to interpret different origins.
Yeah.
I heard that it came originally from African tribes, and it was because all of them wiped their hands. They were taught to wipe their asses with their left hands.
Yeah.
So they always shook hands with their right. But for me, I never saw African people shaking hands when they met each other. Like
True.
I didn't think that was like an African ritual.
Yeah, true.
Maybe now, but that didn't make sense to me. But having no weapon, makes more sense. So,
Yes.
number 10, bowing
Yeah.
in the
Bowing.
martial arts.
Yes.
Oos.
Oos.
I'm bowing to you to show you respect.
Always look high.
Always look high. Daniel side, look high.
Always look high.
So
Yeah.
bowing, and a lot of people that watch or listen to the podcast are martial artists or train in martial arts have at one point. We know that in the martial arts, bowing is a sign of respect, right? We know it's
Yes.
it's a sign of humility. It's a sign of bullshit. Bowing is what they do in Japan.
Yeah.
It's the handshake. It's a Japanese handshake.
Yeah.
It's really the greeting, the salutation, the acknowledgement. If you've ever watched, and I've never been to, Asia. I've never been to Japan. I've never been to these countries to
The
really.
Pressure Project goes to Japan.
That'd be pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But I know that when I've watched enough Japanese cinema, Akira Kurosawa being my favorite director.
It's pretty good.
That Japanese people will speak to each other in a very humble, almost meek type of body posture, and constantly doing this nodding, and it's really, when you look at the nonverbal communication, it's a submissive, humble, really passive, communication. And when you look at bowing, Japanese people aren't very affectionate. They're not very, touchy-feely. They're not very rambunctious. They're a very conservative, reserved society.
At large.
And you see that, in so many other aspects of their culture, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at the martial arts that have passed through Japan.
Yeah. I had to bow like crazy.
Right. You see, they picked up a Japanese culture that had nothing to do with martial arts in bowing.
Yeah.
But it became associated with the martial arts to people who weren't part of that culture.
Correct.
Right. So now we look at it as, you got to bow. Like, we don't bow in the jungle gym.
No, we never have.
Because we're not fucking Japanese.
Yeah. My original martial art was Japanese, so bowing was part of it.
Right. So we don't do it. And you'll see there's some guys here, like guys that have done judo before.
Bow
Guys
before they get on the mat.
They bow before they get on the mat. They bow when they get off the mat. And to me, I don't give a fuck. They're doing their thing, but they ain't got nothing to do with me or us. I made the decision very early on because of this reason to not bow.
Did I bow to you when I first joined? I don't remember.
Of course, you bowed like your first 6 months.
Did I really?
Yes.
I don't remember.
You were all about it.
You told me not to.
Well, after a while, it just gets annoying. It's like
I don't remember.
Because you know what happens?
I'm good with remembering things. I don't remember
Well,
bowing.
here's the thing. Think of it this way.
You cured me, I guess.
But why would I stop somebody from bowing?
Because we don't do that.
Well, it sounds like humorous, but we don't do that.
Yeah.
So when you come here bringing a ritual from another tribe,
it's got to go.
Like, that is a ritual from another group. So that is an acknowledgement or a practice based in open loyalty.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm trying to bring everybody up the spectrum to that closed circle, I am going to eliminate any rituals that are not our rituals.
Correct.
Right.
Makes sense.
So the guy that bows, that nobody sees, that is insignificant in the group anyway, he's the supporter, in-tribe supporter.
Yeah.
He's really not going to be addressed. But as soon as somebody now takes on a role, right, of, warrior, nurturer, shaman, whatever the case is, now the criteria and the standards they're held to is a little bit more rigorous.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you bowing in the beginning, a lot of people bow in the beginning, but what happens is after a while, they realize nobody else bows.
Correct.
So now when they keep bowing, now it's like, they want to be the guy that bows.
Yeah. Or they do the handshake.
Right. Now it's the
thing.
look at me.
Yeah. Let me put my hand. Like, we don't do that either.
Right. And that gets crushed.
Yeah.
Of
course.
That gets crushed. So
I don't even remember it. That's how good a job you did.
Appreciate it. So pink is for girls. Yellow is for cowards.
Yeah.
Crying is for babies. Making the sign of the cross when you pass a church or cemetery. Saying God bless you after a sneeze. Fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Women walking on the inside of the sidewalk.
Protect the women's.
Saying a prayer before you eat or go to sleep. Throwing a coin in a fountain or a body of water.
Yeah.
Shaking hands with your right hand. And bowing in the martial arts.
Hi.
All lessons delivered through ritual.
Yeah.
Some of us very deliberately. Some of us now doing some sort of permutation or mutation of the original origin.
Like the fist bump.
Right. And some of us just doing it because everybody else did it.
Yeah.
and having no reason why.
Yeah.
God bless you with the sneeze. That's like a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So, pressure player.
Pressure player.
Pagans.
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 Pagans built the pier.
Pagans.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. Pagans
Yeah.
represent those people who developed religion and speaking, or developed a spirituality organically, locally,
Yeah.
in tune with their people, in tune with their tribes, in tune with their locations.
Yes.
The things about, when you study the different pagan religions, and there isn't just one pagan religion.
No.
No, it's pre-Christianity, right?
Wow.
Everything is of the people.
Yeah.
So as an atheist, I look at all religions, as something that doesn't connect to a metaphysical realm, right? I look at it for what it is, which is a cultural, traditional, ritual-based practice and identity of a group.
Yeah.
So when you say, during this type of episode that we say pagans is the pressure player,
Yeah.
it's because pagans had it right.
Yeah.
Pagans used these things, these rituals appropriately to empower their groups, their peoples, where they came from. Now, truth be told, the guy who grew up in the Iberian Peninsula didn't meet the guy who grew up in Africa.
Yeah.
So it's not like these people had the ability to preserve or maintain their pagan beliefs in the face of being exposed to different cultures.
True.
But we still have to acknowledge that these people developed religions for their people, of their people.
Yeah. By their people.
By their people.
Yeah.
So pagans.
Pagans.
Very
Very cool.
Crush player.
Yes.
Unicorn.
Unicorn. The opposite.
Christianity.
The antithesis.
I know a lot of you are Christians. Just if you want, just fucking end the episode here. I'll forgive you.
Don't.
You have to forgive me. Right?
That's funny.
You have to forgive me.
Just turn the other cheek.
Turn the other cheek.
Just leave the audio on.
Yeah. But with Christianity, you see the opposite. You see the plague.
Yeah.
You see
Subjectification.
By any means necessary, these people are going to be Christians.
Yeah.
And they said what they needed to say. They did what they needed to do. They made sure that everybody respected their God, their beliefs, their customs, and theirs was better than everybody else. It was the only true message.
Yeah.
Jesus is the Son of God. He is the Savior. He is the Messiah. And all the other religions are bullshit.
False.
Right?
Thou shalt have no false gods before me.
Right. So you have in Christianity not the acknowledgement of different people's rituals and the lessons that those people of those lands learned through their rituals.
Yeah.
You have just this almost maniacal, what's the word I'm looking for? Why is it that when I look for a word, the hardest, I can't find it?
Megalomaniacal.
Yeah, megalomaniacal.
Megalomaniacal.
You could say that.
Yeah.
But they wanted to be the one.
Yeah.
There could be only
There
one.
can be only one.
Not
Jesus.
the pagans didn't believe that. Like, no, there could be many.
There's a bunch.
Crom laughs at your forewinds. We've spoken about this before in a lot of different conversations. But it's really, the reason I say Christianity would be the unicorn in this episode is because it doesn't respect the very native rituals of different peoples.
Does not.
Throughout history, it has not. Don't tell me that I'm a Christian, I respect. Oh, that's fine.
That's great.
Everybody thought like you, by the way, you wouldn't be a Christian. So
True.
there's a reason, there's a way that, it made this, all the criticisms that you'll find people have today of like big corporations.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Walmart.
very, very conceptually the same criticism that we had for Christianity throughout time.
Yeah. Christianity, Walmart.
By any means necessary.
Christianity is the Walmart of religions.
Christianity is the Walmart of religions. That is a keeper. That is a keeper. If I thought I would sell more than 3 of them, I'd make it a show.
Welcome to Christianity. May I help you?
That's true. Always open. All right. So Pink is for girls, another lessons of ritual.
Yeah.
Break it down, you crack-ass cracker.
So if you're in your tribe, you have your rituals. Those are yours. Those are yours. Those are for your tribe members. You need them. They're important. If you have no rituals, you have no tribe. So it's important to define them, identify them, and embrace them as yours. They might be different than others, but that's the point. They're your rituals. They make your tribe stronger. That's it.
Well said. Legacy is important. Tradition is important. Culture as a means to achieving tradition is important. All of these things are expressed and communicated and executed through the language of ritual. Whenever a group develops a ritual, it's usually as an answer to some need, some question, some desire to either empower, augment, fix, heal some void or condition of the group. I tell my sons yellow is for cowards because before they can even understand what a coward is, they already have a ritual to avoid becoming one. These are powerful tools used as long as people have been around by people of all walks of life. I am someone who respects ritual. I'm somebody who respects a tribe's desire and practice of being who they are, of extending their loyalty matrix, developing their loyalty matrix. I am not a supporter of people who repress that. If your tribe in its rituals can exist next to my tribe, then everything that you do is okay with me. When your tribe has a ritual that includes my tribe, therein lies the age-old problem that societies have always faced. Understand why you do what you do. Understand what you have your children do, because chances are you may very well be preparing them to be somebody that you don't agree with. Thank you, folks, for listening. Another awesome episode. Great conversation. Awesome. And when I say awesome and great, I mean that this has been fulfilling for me.
Yeah, 100%.
I always have a good time having these talks.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Glad you guys got to join us. So remember, thepressureproject.com is our website. info@thepressureproject.com is our contact email. I've got quite a few requests lately to do interviews.
Great.
On different podcasts and radio shows.
Yeah.
I just shared one recently that I had done in a conservative talk radio show. Frank Rossetti.
Yeah.
I had a good time doing it. And I look forward to doing it. So I'm always open for that. And I know some of the guys have found me through the podcast. ThePressureProjectMembers.com is our membership site. Check it out. I'm sure that getting that 3-month membership, $25.
Yeah.
Getting that 3-month membership is going to be worth it. More content is to come. We've been busy and we're getting busier.
Yes.
We're growing.
Yeah.
Again, Erwin, Scott, Anthony, thank you for participating in the 2-year membership option, and glad to have you. All right, guys, we look forward to speaking to you on the next episode. And as always, brothers, pressure to power.